Good evening, I'm Hafiz Marzukhi. Iran's supreme leader gives his first address since ceasefire with Israel. And quick trade deal with Washington or better terms. EU leaders to meet in Brussels to deliberate on this. That's coming up on AWANI International. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, downplays the impact of recent US airstrikes on Iran's nuclear sites. In his first public address since the Israel-Iran ceasefire, Khamenei says that Washington has achieved nothing significant, rejecting US President Donald Trump's claim that the attacks had obliterated Iran's nuclear program. Khamenei called the president's claim as unusually exaggerated and far from the truth. He also threatened further retaliation, warning that any future US attacks would come at a high cost. Earlier, Khamenei said Iran had delivered a heavy slap to a US base in Qatar, though no casualties were reported, and declared victory over Israel in posts on social media. His appearance ends weeks of speculation over his health following a rare public absence. European Union leaders are expected to tell the European Commission today whether to pursue a quick trade deal with the US on terms favoring Washington or keep pushing for better agreement. The Commission will meet with all 27 EU member states in Brussels to discuss the next steps.
The meeting comes ahead of US President Donald Trump's July 9th tariff deadline, now less than 2 weeks away. According to EU diplomats, a growing number of countries are leaning toward a quick resolution amid concerns over potential US tariff hikes if talks drag on. The bloc already faces US import tariffs of 50% on steel and aluminium, 25% on cars and car parts, and 10% on most other EU goods. Trump has also threatened tariffs could rise to 50% without an agreement.
We have more after the break. Stay tuned.
Kelimomo datang lagi? Mungkin shampoo anda tidak 100%. Mari kita lihat. Gunalah Head & Shoulders menghilangkan kelimomo sehingga 100%, membasmi kegagalan, melindungi kulit kepala sehingga 48 jam supaya kelimomo dan kegagalan tidak datang lagi. Head & Shoulders.
Jiwa SME Astro AWANI kembali ke ipoh. Ayo komen jumpa teman di Aeon Mall Kinta City pada 28 dan 29 Jun. Naik taraf perniagaan anda dalam dunia SME bersama penaja utama Unify Business serta rakan strategik kami. Dibawakan oleh penaja utama jelajah jiwa SME, Unify Business, rakan digital pilihan anda.
Di dalam setiap berita yang dibawa, konteks amat penting. Kami sentiasa membawakan yang tergempar dan terkini. Pastikan Astro AWANI menjadi pilihan anda, tidak kira di mana sahaja anda berada.
US President Donald Trump has called on Israel to pardon Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu or cancel his corruption trial, describing it as a witch hunt. In a Truth Social post, Trump claims that the war criminal has done much for Israel.
Trump said he had just learned that Netanyahu was due in court on Monday and added that it was the United States of America that saved Israel, and now it is going to be the United States of America that saves Bibi Netanyahu. It was unclear if Trump meant the US could do anything to help Netanyahu in his legal battle. Netanyahu was indicted in 2019 on charges of bribery, fraud, and breach of trust in 3 criminal cases, which he denies. The trial began in May 2020, but has faced repeated delays, including postponements requested by Netanyahu due to the war in Gaza and later conflict in Lebanon. According to Israeli media, cross-examination began on June 3rd in the Tel Aviv court and is expected to last about a year. Israeli President Isaac Herzog, who has the authority to grant a pardon, has said the option is not currently on the table.
China is hosting defense ministers from the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO, in the eastern city of Qingdao. The meeting aims to boost military trust and cooperation among member states as tension heightens in the Middle East and NATO moves to ramp up military spending. In his speech, Chinese Defense Minister Dong Jun urged members to defend international fairness and uphold global stability. But cracks are already showing as India's Defense Minister Rajnath Singh reportedly refused to sign the SCO's joint statement for not explicitly addressing India's concerns. The statement, intended to condemn cross-border terrorism, did not mention the Pahalgam terror attack in April, but cited incidents in Pakistan instead, prompting Rajnath to accuse the bloc of double standards. Also attending is Iran's defense chief Aziz Nasirzadeh, making his first foreign trip since the 12-day clash with Israel and US as a sign of how seriously Tehran values ties with Beijing. The SCO, a China-led regional body founded in 2001, includes Russia, India, Pakistan, Iran, Belarus, and Central Asian states, with the aim to strengthen cooperation and mutual trust among member states. The conflict involving Iran will not affect regional stability in Southeast Asia, assures Iran's ambassador to Malaysia, Waliullah Muhammadi Nasrabadi. Waliullah says Iran is ready to strengthen economic and diplomatic cooperation with ASEAN, but also calls on the bloc to voice support for Iran and condemn Israeli attacks amid the turmoil.
We are, always talking with Malaysia. We have exchanged our view and share our view, and we want to work together. Not, Malaysia as now is chairman of ASEAN also. Through Malaysia, we can work with ASEAN also, and we told everybody that we don't want to, make a problem for any country. We only defend ourselves, and for this reason always we explain to all countries, and of course the friend is first and special, and Malaysia is our friend country, and we want to assure them that our conflict on our side, of course from our side, we don't do anything to affect this region and ASEAN. Many countries around, many blocs around the world, they condemn Israel, and of course I hope inshallah ASEAN also do that, because ASEAN, I know the ASEAN region always talking about peace and secure for the trade and economic development. For this reason, I hope inshallah they also can issue their statement and support Iran for its defense of the country.
Commenting on the Strait of Hormuz, a key global trade route, Waliullah assured that Iran would not restrict access to the waterway, especially for neighboring countries.
Iran try to don't put obstacle for the relation between our neighbor country with the other country around the world. For this reason, of course, we don't work for these matters. If reach the, of course, the disputes or war, the age that we cannot use it, of course, that time maybe we decide. But now, no. Always during the many problems that we have, never we try to close this story. When this is not in our agenda now, but maybe in future, if there is tough of course situation, maybe we decide. But before that, no, never.
On nuclear negotiations with the United States, Waliullah said Iran remains open to talks and is committed to demonstrating that its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes.
Many people, they believe that the reason Israel attacked Iran because they were worried if Iran and America reach the agreement, that time there is no any chance for them. For this reason, they want to break this agreement. So if in future we can continue that negotiation on the basis of mutual, of course, what is rights, and that time and respect, mutual right and respect, we can continue. And definitely we are ready to negotiate with any country to show that our activity is peaceful and this is our right, have enrichment, of course not for military purpose, for peaceful purpose, for medical, for agriculture, for energy, for technology.
On June 13, Israel attacked Iran's nuclear and military sites, alleging Tehran was building a nuclear weapon. The US later joined the strike, but despite a ceasefire, both sides continued to trade accusations of violations.
Amid rising geopolitical tensions and economic uncertainties, one of the central questions raised at the World Economic Forum in Tianjin is this: is the Asian century at risk? Vietnam's Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh offered a resolute response. Yes, Asia is facing significant headwinds. But just as clearly, he argued the region's opportunities remain vast and open. Our lead editor, Najib Arif, brings this report from Tianjin.
One of the most pressing issues being focused here: can Asia still be the engine of global growth amid rising headwinds? Prime Minister of Vietnam gave his candid answer. Yes, Asia is facing difficulties and challenges such as inflation and geopolitical tensions, climate change, as well as a demographic shift. But he was equally clear: Asia's opportunities are rising and expanding and wide open. Let's listen to what he said.
Asia is facing major challenges and risk arising from geopolitical tension, protectionism, inflationary pressure, growth decline, natural disasters, and epidemics, especially after COVID-19, climate change, resource depletion, aging population, social instability, cybersecurity, and conflict, among many others. But does Asia have opportunities and good tidings? Another question. And the answer is yes. And not just yes, but also expanding and wide open. Given its geostrategic location, its vast and young population, its huge market, its strong economic growth prospects, its advancing middle class, with poverty being increasingly a thing of the past. It also has an infrastructural, public service, finance, and banking system going from strength to strength, from maturity to maturity, an increasingly stable social framework, and most of all, Asia is endeavoring to advance in harmony with the rest of the world.
And that optimism is not without reason. Asia today hosts more than half of the global population, a rising middle class, and fast-growing markets that continue to attract international investment. More importantly, stress that Asia's strength lies in its unity, acting in solidarity, and also leaving no one behind. With that, we close the curtain for World Economic Forum annual meeting of the new champions in Tianjin. See you next year.
That report wraps up AWANI International tonight. Stay tuned for our reports on the rivalry strategies and the shifts behind the power fast driving the new global order. Visit international.astroawani.com for more. Be sure to follow our social media accounts at PowerFast. I'm Hafiz Marzukhi. Thank you for watching and good night.